And hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live session with Mia. And we are here to talk about how to grow an awesome product-led organization. Was it right? Yeah, great. I got corrected there before we went live. Today, like everyone wants to create a fantastic growth rate in their organization. And we think about, like, from my perspective, I'm a digital tactician. And so I think about all the ways in which we can use digital tactics to grow. What I don't know is how to build an organization around it in order to make that growth happen smoothly and efficiently and all of those other things. And that's why Mia is here to sort of give us some insights into how we can do that. And before I let Mia into this, I am going to do some housekeeping. First thing, we are going to post this video on YouTube after we are done here. It's going to take a little while for it to process, but it will be up in a few hours for those of you who might not be able to stay to the end. We will answer questions in the end. And if you ask a question, we will lift them in as comments. So you just comment on LinkedIn where you see this video, and then once we get to the place where we start answering these questions, we will pull them into the screen, and so your avatar will be visible there, just like the duck is here. I don't think that there is anything more that I want to say, and so I want to let Mia take over the steering wheel. Mia, go right ahead. Oh, you are. Now you're unmuted.
Perfect. That's a good thing to find that one. So thank you, Jesper. Really nice introduction and energy. And welcome, everyone, to this webinar that we're running here. And today, I will try and see if this one works as well. Let's see, it doesn't work. Okay.
What is it that doesn't work?
Now it works, I think.
Now it works.
Good. So what I will share today, like Jesper was saying, is how to grow this product-led organization. And I will go through this poster, which is maybe one of the posters with the most information that I've ever created. So it's probably good to do a talk about it. So I will go through all the question marks that you see here that are questions that you can ask yourself and your peers and think about what are the options and what are your priorities. So first of all, there are 5 types of organizations that I've chosen to share with you here. The first one is the budget-led organization. And if you're a budget-led organization, you're trying mostly maybe to hit the budget. You're planning maybe a year ahead, and most of you have probably spent the past maybe month at least in these budget meetings. And then you know that you feel maybe a little bit exhausted. You've done a lot of heavy thinking and trying to plan ahead and figure everything out, trying to get aligned with everyone around you to plan for this coming year, where maybe you feel that you have no clue what's going on, what's going to happen for real. And in a sales-led organization, we have salespeople. They are out meeting customers, and they come with this long list of things, great stuff that you could build in your product that they think maybe the customers are interested in because they asked for it. Or maybe their competitor have these different features. And you can also be a technology-led organization where you see all these different new things happening, AI, of course, which will help you to create a lot of cool things in your products. Maybe you're not sure if your customers will actually use these things. So it could be here that you build a lot of features, and these are maybe creating a lot of heavy, you could say, interfaces that are not so easy to use. And maybe you find afterwards that many of the things didn't really get used by people. And you can also be a visionary-led organization where you have this strong visionary leader that really knows where you're headed and you're following this person. But what happens when this person isn't around anymore, of course, that could create confusion. It could also be that your organization would lean into another direction depending on the new leader that emerges and the new CEO of the company that might come from the finance side or something. And of course, the product-led organization. In this organization, the focus overall is always around the customer needs, and how that connects to business and to the strategy that we want to achieve. So in this organization, people are really trying to figure out what customers are most important for us to build the products that we want to have and what we stand for, the purpose of our organization, and how can we create that growth of the product that Jesper was talking about. How can we enable people to share, to love our product and show that they really want to use our product and connect with our product? So this is the overall thinking in the whole organization. And this is what we're going to talk about today, how to build that organization. So all of these different types, you could also maybe find others that you are in, other type of organizations. But of course, you could also mix these. So you could have the product-led organization with looking for the customer's needs and try to fulfill them the best way possible you can, and also use the best technology to be able to do that. So that's a good connection to do that. And you can have this great vision of how you can create a life that's better for the user when they use your product, of course. And you can create budgets based on this, but maybe more of an ongoing budget where you look constantly on what's the most value we could bring to our customers right now, and then continuously create budgets for that. And of course, you can have sales people working, selling your products, but they should sell those products to the right customers that you actually are building products for, not for maybe all the type of customers that there could be. So, of course, a good mix here is always good. And the first thing usually you have to think about a little bit is how do we measure success? What makes it look good? And what are the things that we appreciate in our organization and maybe get bonuses or so forth? So if it is trying to hit the goal of the budget, then you know that's where you're at. Or do you get bonuses based on the number of features or projects delivered? Maybe you're becoming a little bit of a feature factory here. Or are you successful when you ship the same features as your competitors have? Then maybe you're a little bit in that sales-driven organization then. So think about this and talk about this. In a feature factory, like I mentioned, you focus on just delivering as much as possible. You have maybe focus on the flow in your organization, but you still haven't added the value part. Who are we doing this for? And merge those two things. So the first thing that an organization does when you start to change to try to get as much as possible out to your customers is to focus on flow. And then we want to think about building the right thing that actually matters. So not doing everything that people ask for. And we want to aim for these 20% customers use all the time. That's, of course, what we want to get out of the building as quickly as possible to our customers. And maybe we are succeeding when we release something that makes our customers' lives better. Our customers stay with us and want their friends to use our stuff too. And when we get early feedback and can stop working on things that no one actually needed. So these might be things that are interesting to think about. Could we actually call this a success instead of maybe the other things that maybe we measure today and get maybe bonuses or other things for? So we need to become obsessed by our customers. That's when we will succeed as well as a company. And that is always how it's going to be. No matter if you actually think that you're a product-led organization, you have to do this. Otherwise, you will not be as successful as you could be. So the bureaucracy in organizations is also something that's crucial to think about. What's the minimum viable bureaucracy that we could have that actually serves us, that helps us to do our job in a good way? Today, bureaucracy, I would say, is probably increasing in most organizations as people are trying to control the environment by having bureaucracy. And normally, this is an old research that shows that 5% increase per year of bureaucracy in organizations is normal. So if the changing environment and the complexity is increasing, usually then bureaucracy is also increasing a lot. This might not be very helpful when we try to focus on the customer at all. So we need to think about, are we optimizing for flow? Are we optimizing for value, or are we optimizing for maybe something else here? So starting with the flow is what you need to do when you change your organization. You need to get things out. If you don't get things out from your organization, if it takes a very long time, a year or 6 months or something to deliver something, then you won't get feedback early, and then you can't adapt your solution. So when you look at the flow metrics, we have things that could be measured, that could be valuable for us to know: cost of delay of features, feature sets or projects, the cycle time for features, lead time for features. So how long does it take for us to deliver an end-to-end feature, something that the customers could use? And what does it cost for us not to deliver these things? That's really valuable to talk about, not talking about the number of features, but the cost if we don't deliver these features quicker than we do. Then we could turn this feature factory into something that actually delivers value instead. So when the flow has started to happen, we can start to focus on value. And here is where most the product stuff and the customer-centric stuff comes in, where we can measure if our products are useful, if the products, if the users can use them in a simple way, if they're actually creating value for the customers that we have prioritized. So this is also something you have to look at and think about and visualize and talk about and make sure that these are the things that actually you are in agreement about, that this is what we consider value in our organization. Then this will happen. You will understand the customers, what they want, what they need, what's not helpful for them, and maybe what you can do that the competitors aren't doing. And then you can deliver those things quicker and learn along the way. So this is what you want your organization to be able to do. But in most organizations, only 5% of the people in the organization understands the business strategy. Of course, then it's not easy at all to make business decisions and grow the customer and the markets and have people to share the products at all, because we don't really know what are our strategies, what's most important for us. And this has to do with that we have a very little overlap in the organization. So the people doing the strategic work and the people doing the operational work, they're too far away from each other. They don't see the same things, and usually they don't talk to each other. It's very difficult to get information from people doing the work closest to the customers up to the people actually creating the strategies, which in most organizations is the board. The board is responsible for the strategies of the organization, where they're headed and what they're supposed to do about things. And the management team, the leadership team, are supposed to implement this. So if there's no overlap, of course, it's going to be really tricky to become a customer-led organization. So you have to find ways to overlap. So that really needs to happen and be facilitated, and you need to find ways to help everyone to understand, and for the people maybe then in the management team and in the board to see what's actually going on. And one way to do that is to visualize things that happens in the organization continuously to make better decisions together and to deliver on the strategies that you have. So this is a way where we visualize both flow in the organization and the value, the customer value and the business value. And of course, the portfolio, the things that we are working on and the things that we want to achieve and the things that we have responsibility for when it comes to product as well. This is a strategic leadership area. And of course, you need to get a flow of information up there, and we need to see the things that maybe are not good news really quickly. So we want to have exact bad news in here. We don't want to have false, fake news or faulty news, because this is how we navigate in the unknown space. Based on reality, we don't want to have it based on the budget, the plan we did, or things we thought we would do, or how it would turn out if we would have guessed. So we don't want to have these late, expensive surprises. We want to shift really quickly instead. To do that, we need to get a flow of information from teams and to the leadership teams that are in between, could be different layers, and to the executives, of course, and maybe to the board as well, and then around again. So we need to have a steady pace of information of different kinds, and what are we seeing, what are the trends, what's going on, what are our customers doing right now, what do we need to ship to them to make sure that we actually maybe keep them as our customers or grow our markets. This is information that needs to come really quick in times like this. If you're doing this too little and not as often as the actual information is coming in, you're going to have old information and you're not going to navigate on the latest information, which of course could mean that you make the wrong decisions continuously over the period of time where you're not actually getting new information. So if this happens today, every 6 months or every 3 months or every 2 months or something, every quarter, who knows, then just increase the pace. Make sure that that happens maybe every week, maybe every month, and make it possible to get that information in a smooth way, which is not the bureaucracy way, but in a different way, which I'm going to share a little bit more. So in this leadership team with the strategic area, we get the flow information, we get the value information, we're continuously updating this and understanding what's going on and helping people to understand the direction that we're heading, what's important for us right now, and if we need maybe to adapt our strategy, our plan. And the leadership team is responsible for this. They need to make sure that this is visible, that this is updated, and help to make maybe new decisions. Be there for people to come and maybe show what's going on, get the information from the teams, and then help them to make good decisions together, facilitate that, or help to find maybe new strategies and new things that could be done instead of what was planned previously. So the leadership team here is crucial. So what are the capabilities that you need to scale in your organizations? A lot of people talk about scaling agile, but what is that? Maybe you should think about what are you actually after, because you don't want to implement a framework. That's not the goal. You don't want to do what everyone else is doing. That shouldn't be the goal either. So think about what are the capabilities we need to scale here. Maybe the capability of delivering products that customers love. I would start in that end. What can we do to make that happen? That's really what we're after. And our ability to handle the unknown maybe needs to be increased, because in the beginning of big things that we do, strategic things, the things that are new to us, there are very little that we know in the beginning, and there are things that we know that we don't know. But there's a lot of things that we don't know that we don't know. And out there in the unknown, that's where we need to be headed as soon as possible. So we need to become really good at this. How do you do that? In a product organization, this is key. And the traditional ways of working, they are helpful in the small, maybe red area, what we know right now, maybe analyzing a little bit of the stuff that we could also understand by reaching out and doing a little bit of discovery. But the agile mindset and ways of working is really handling the unknown well. That's where we can go out and discover things, totally new things in a short period of time. That's why it's really helpful. And a team-based organization is designed to scale well. So if we want to have these abilities, the team-based organization will help you to scale in a better way than a traditional organization. So starting with teams, starting to find ways where you can group teams, where you can get the flow of information, you can get a shared understanding of what you're doing, and you can get a shared responsibility over a product or an area or something like that. But often these 100 years old management practices, they need to change for this to be able to be done. So I'm going to get back to that a little bit, how you can get started with this, of course. But as this scales really well, start small, and then grow on that, what you're learning. If that works better than it's been doing before, then that's usually a better way to do things. And then you can start to change the system around to make this happen. So that we can have these end-to-end processes that teams can take responsibility for and get fast learning along the way in a team environment, or maybe team of teams where we have several teams working together doing this. This will optimize the business outcome. That will grow the business. So this is, of course, what we're looking for in the end. We're not looking for just being agile or using a specific framework or anything like that. We're looking for growing the business. So what are the responsibilities that we have in these leadership teams then that I mentioned? So we have shared goals in a leadership team. This is not a leadership group. A group would have different goals. A leadership group is something different. A leadership team has a shared goal, which is, of course, the strategic goal of the people that they are leading. And if that is one part of this type of team-based organization, maybe in the bottom part, then you are responsible for that part of the organization. You have shared goals based on that, which is really helpful because it helps you actually, oh, am I going the wrong way here? I am. It will help you to collaborate as a leadership team. You will not have different agendas. You will not have a problem agreeing about what needs to be done. And you can have this shared space, strategic space, to make strategic decisions together and remove hinders, increase the flow, increase the value. And it's much easier for people then to work with you and under you and trust you, because you will have the same story, you will keep each other's backs, and it will create a totally different environment for everyone in the organization. And the management areas that these leadership teams traditionally, they would be responsible for different things that are important in the organization. This is an example of a tech-based product organization, I would say, where we have technology, which is a key driver in the business, which is very common in most organizations today. Here we have product, of course, responsibility for maximizing the value of the organization and the business. The people perspective, where we need to help people and teams to grow. We have the process part, where we optimize for flow in the organization and between teams and everywhere. And we have the technology part, where we make sure that we have the right type of technologies that helps to grow our business. So these goes together really well. And together we can say that maybe they're overlapping, of course, with these shared goals. So we call that the agile leadership flower, where we need to have an overlap, but we also have our shared or separated responsibilities in the leadership team, where, of course, the product leader is leading the product owners in the teams. And the process leader, which could be an agile coach, which is usually very helpful to have to optimize the flow and everything. They, of course, then facilitate and help to grow the flow together with Scrum Masters, for example, and help to enable that across the organization. And the same with people and technology. So they have the different separated responsibility, but they have an overlap working together to create high-performing organizations together. And one piece in this is the Scrum of Scrum. Maybe you've heard about that. The most common ways of working in agile team-based organizations is usually Scrum. I think it's around 60, maybe 65% of most tech-driven organizations like this, or product-driven organizations, that work in Scrum. So it's a useful framework, easy to use, and a lot of times easy to grow like this in a good way. But there could be other ways as well. But most times these ways of working have some function like this, where those responsible for flow, the Scrum Masters in this case, meet up from many teams together to remove hinders, to be able to create a fast pace of deliveries from all teams. So if one team would be blocked, they would bring this to the Scrum of Scrum with their Scrum Master, and the Scrum Master will talk to the other teams, to the teams that are blocking them, and ask them to support them to increase the flow of their team, and then figuring out, could we do some improvement continuously? Could we try something else? Maybe we should try to collaborate closer in our planning. Maybe we should borrow a few people from your team to increase the flow in our team and grow the capabilities of our team so we can do this ourselves. So these guys are change agents and working with improving the organization together in a structured way. This is a key thing in a product organization. And of course, product management. People working within product management, they also meet up. They look at the plans, whatever they need to deliver together. They slice these deliveries in deliveries that create value. Usually that needs to happen together if there are big things that we're working on, big initiatives, big projects, big strategic things that maybe will be happening across several teams. These guys need to facilitate and make sure the teams can actually deliver and pull from this one shared backlog then maybe across many teams. They will also be the one that will feed the leadership strategic area with information about the product. And of course, these guys, Scrum of Scrum, they will feed information from all teams when it comes to flow. So we get this flow of information from both these groups working together. So how do we enable both autonomy and alignment? This is usually a crucial thing to manage this in a good way, which needs to be of the highest priority for any organization. If you want to be an innovative organization, which a product-led organization should try to be, of course, where we want teams to be able to make decisions themselves and not be dependent on too many others. So we want to remove dependencies as much as possible, but also create this alignment where they can understand what other teams are working on and what their maybe mission is, each team's mission, and how they can collaborate, which of course this will help. This can create a lot of alignment to have a shared plan, a shared backlog, and goals that we can see and talk about that we have responsibilities for. So when we work in a team-based organization, there are different options what you could do. Many organizations just start with number one, where we have teams. We have teams with product owners and scrum masters, and the people needed with the skills to deliver what the team is responsible for, which could be, of course, many different things. It could be a pharma. It could be, something within mining. It could be a team working on Google. It could be any type of team. And in this setup, we don't have a structure to facilitate things, maybe to keep things together much. So when we grow our organization with maybe more than 5 or 10 teams, we need something else. Otherwise, it gets very messy. We don't know who's doing what. It's really difficult to lead that type of organization. We might not really see what's going on either. So maybe we move into this alternative 2, where we have a product manager who's responsible for the strategy of maybe across several teams and working together with maybe 2 of these small leadership teams, where we have a product owner and someone responsible for helping teams when it comes to flow as well, maybe an agile coach. And a lot of times the people person is here as well, working together with the teams and the individuals a bit. So in this case, we have 2 different groups of teams, which we call team of teams. So we might have 3 teams working with one part of this that this product manager is responsible for, which could be a product area. Then, of course, it's easier for these people to plan together, to work together, and maybe we need 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 teams to be able to deliver on one part of a product. In this case, it's been separated in 2 different teams of teams with a leadership team for each. So this, of course, grows quite easily, which is really helpful. That's why growing and scaling a team-based organization is much easier. When we see that we have too many teams working on one thing, maybe that's a little bit tricky. Maybe we can think about what we can do to slice maybe then the responsibility, maybe the product, or maybe we can do something to decrease the burden of the teams in some way, to maybe remove maybe they have too much maintenance going on. So maybe try to move from maybe 60% maintenance down to 20. That will help the teams to be more innovative and also create better products. And maybe then we don't need that many people. So there are many things you can work on here to improve as well. And once you've done that and see, maybe this is a good thing, but we need something better maybe, or something different. Maybe you need to connect it to the customer journey. Maybe you have a product which is a before, during, after customer journey, then it's usually helpful to connect it to that, because then we are more closer to the customer. It's more easy to understand that we get a good experience for the customer. We could take responsibility in an easier way for the actual experience of the customer. Then we can move into alternative 3 here, where we might have then a chief product owner for the products, the different things that the customers can buy, and then maybe also a chief product owner for the customer journey. The teams working on making sure that we have really good user experience across, a lot of times across devices, that we have a seamless experience independent on where we are. Of course, here also we need to have someone taking responsibility for this strategy, for helping to see where we're headed, make sure that we have an alignment a little bit in what we're doing across teams. And then we could have teams of teams here as well. So we move with the same solution with small teams of teams, where we can have leadership teams, cross-functional leadership teams working here, responsible for those teams that they work closest with. And then, of course, they could collaborate as leaders together also across this. So this could be a product organization like this as an alternative 3, where we then have responsibility for the overall experience. We have several products, we have several teams of teams, and this also scales really well. And it's more easily to see that if we get new information, we need to make new, take on new strategies. It's easier to lead this organization product-wise, to make sure that we can actually change really quickly by doing organizing like this. And then on the 4th example here, with the product owner working with teams of teams with one backlog, maybe just 3 or 4 teams. Of course, this could be done as well. So you can have different options depending on how your organization is right now. You could start with the number 1 and then move into the number 4 and then maybe the number 2. It's good to think about what will be helpful for us. How do we know that we create this autonomy and alignment across several teams? Because this is usually what needs to happen. And when you merge and continue to adapt your organization, maybe more people will be part of these teams. So you might find that you get teams of teams maybe not really delivering the product, but supporting people delivering the product. So this will also scale outside of the actually maybe technology or product department, because you need these support people to join you as well. So how do we grow teams and individuals, the people perspective here? Well, many times we have development managers that is part of the leadership team that have this responsibility. They might come then from a line role earlier. If you have a traditional based organization, you have line managers. In this type of organization, a product organization, the line manager becomes the development manager, is responsible only for the people. That person is not responsible for the deliveries, not for the product, not for the projects, only for the people. And then, of course, working together with the other people in your leadership team will be helpful, because then you can help to support and grow the capabilities of the teams. What are the capabilities needed to facilitate that? Understand how do we build and grow people's skills in order to support the team to grow and maybe take on new challenges as a team, which then you can talk with the product owner, the product manager, to see where we're heading, what's going to happen a little bit further ahead. Should we also look at growing the skills and the capabilities of our people? So make sure that you always connect that to the product. and the technology, of course, what needs to happen there. Then you can have different skills in your teams. It might be so that one PM, development manager, I mean DM, actually is responsible for one of these chapters, as it says here, that goes across several teams, where then I, as a people manager, could be responsible for the, say, marketing chapter. So I'm responsible for maybe 10 people across different teams and helping them to grow as individual, and also taking responsibility for them as their manager, talking about how they are doing and what's going on, and helping them as individuals, of course. But I could also be part of this leadership team for maybe 3 teams, but it's not always that my people that I'm the manager for are actually working in these 3 teams. They might work across other teams. So here it's not a matrix organization. If you would add a matrix organization over this, it gets very complicated sometimes. You need also to belong to the leadership team and not only work with the chapter, but also with the teams and what's going on. So this is usually a huge shift from a traditional organization in many ways, and also how you do the work. Since you don't solve conflicts that might happen in the team, you help the team to solve conflicts, to grow their maturity of the team so they can actually become high performing. Otherwise, they cannot innovate, they cannot become high performing. And as a product team, we really want them to be that. So a development manager would help the team to figure out how to solve conflicts, to facilitate those things, to maybe train the teams in different ways, and to work together with the product owner, the scrum master, to figure things out, or the agile coach. Not taking that in one-on-ones, which is a lot of times happening in traditional organization. The one-on-ones should not be to there for the employee to ask the development manager to solve conflicts for them. That should be brought back to the team. So what type of teams do we need? It might sound that we need product teams, of course. Product teams are good. A product team could be responsible for the product that our customers buy, where we actually get money for what we do. That's a good start. And then we could have teams working with the customer journey, like I said, responsible for all the touch points in that part of the customer journey, making sure the customers comes in, actually start using the product, and maybe start using more parts of the product to stay longer, to increase the lifetime value. So teams could be then customer journey teams taking responsibility for these things as well. And platform teams is usually needed. These teams are responsible for making sure that the product teams and the customer journey teams then have things to work on, and that things are actually up and running, and they build functionality within the platform dependent on the priorities of the product teams and the customer journey teams. What are the things that they need, that we need to support them with to create the platform, so this will run and scale and be also, of course, safe in everything that needs to happen. That's the responsibility of platform teams. And then we have service teams, which are crucial, especially in the beginning of this type of organization. We need to have small teams working just to increase the capabilities of other teams. So there could be DevOps teams that are there to increase the possibilities for all teams to release and deliver in a good way. And creating that culture and bringing that into all teams and building the support that they need technically as well. Once that is up and running and everything's working, that DevOps team, that support team usually isn't needed that much anymore. And those people will just go into the product or customer journey or platform teams again. Could be design ops teams, same here, making sure that we can work with design in a good way and, of course, in a scalable way. The people ops team could be there to support also across many teams. The leadership team is also a service team. So everyone in a team-based organization, all people should actually belong to at least one team, or not at least, they should never be in several teams. They should be in one team. So trying to figure that out. But The service teams will help to scale the capabilities of the organization. So if you feel we don't have as many as we need of these guys, we don't have the capabilities that go across, we can't start a product organization. Yes, you can. You just need a service team to get started. That will help you. And then you will remove that service team and pull them back into the teams. And product teams needs to be responsible for the end-to-end process, like I said. If you look at the top here, we have waterfall, where everything is divided into different silos, and we have handoffs everywhere, from opportunity selection to release and run. Going down a little bit, you can see the all different ways you can start to grow responsibility and take responsibility as one team and get those skills and capabilities into the teams. At the very bottom, you see agile product teams. Here we can be responsible for the opportunity selection. We can be responsible for the business. This is where you want to go in the end if you want to have a product organization. Then you can work with understanding customer needs. You can design things, you can build them, you can test. You can do this really quickly sometimes, just over maybe a week or so. You can start a new product, you can start a new thing, totally new business maybe, with this type of team. And then they're also responsible to test, release, and run to make sure it's always optimized, it's always up and running. So all the way to the bottom, that's where you want to go. Maybe you start somewhere in the top 3 or something, but then this is just a strategy for you to grow the capabilities of your organization to become more successful as a business. So take it step by step and work with this. So how do we get there? Of course, there's lots of things you can do here, probably. Lots of possibilities and opportunities. You need to drive the change in your cross-functional leadership team or teams. So maybe you should start there. They are crucial for your organization to become product-led, to start to work as a team, have a shared goal, have the people, and start to grow those teams that you can take responsibility for the system around them. And of course, then continuously work with the change. It's not going to go away. It's not a change project. It's not something you implement. It's something that you continuously adapt, based maybe on these kind of patterns that I've shown you today. Patterns are successful ways of doing things that have been collected many years and in many organizations, proven to be successful. So use those and try different things, but be mindful about what's going on in the organization, because when you change one thing, it's not obvious what's going to happen. So you need to constantly change and adapt. So plan, deliver, and test things, and look at the performance, productivity, and everything that you want to happen, the health values of your people, maybe your systems, your customers, and everything. And the learning organization will help you to move forward. So aim to develop a learning organization that can enable a product-led organization, to not look just at tools and processes, frameworks, whatever, but actually build this mindset. This is what's going to be powerful for you. And a good start with the product. Look at, this is a model that's really helpful, Pavo. We start with the product. We look at what are the things we want to bring to our customers that they will love, that we think are helpful. Then build an architecture that can enable these products to be delivered. And then establish ways of working that continuously increase the flow, because that will increase the benefit for the customer and, of course, your business. And then organize to create value with these types of teams, the product teams, the enabling team, the specialist teams, and the platform teams. So start with the product. It's a really good start. And then use these, or create these change agents that you have in the organization. Maybe you already have them somewhere. Use them, people who want to do things. Get them together, visualize things, work in a structured way. If you have already an agile organization with maybe Scrum teams or Kanban teams, get those Scrum masters together, or Kanban masters, and visualize what can we do to continuously improve. They see a lot of things that will be helpful for them, that you can help to remove. And remember that management is change management, and change management is management. So your leadership team has to work with increasing flow and increasing value and continuously manage the change. Don't manage the people, manage the organization, the structure, and the change. And your people can deliver awesome products. I'm 100% sure of that. So, Jesper, I don't know if you're there.
I am
We're here.
here. I am here.
Good. So I had this slide. Of course, we are here at Then the People to support your
Yeah.
organization. We have the portfolio training that's coming up now next 25th of October here in Stockholm. If you are in Sweden, half day training for those who wants to set up this portfolio and get started with that. We have a lot of free downloads. The two maybe main posters that I talked about now, the design patterns, but also the leadership team. You can download them on our website. The YouTube channel that you talked about, Jesper, where you can find this video afterwards. And of course, we are Agile Coaching. We advise and we help you get started and move along.
Cool. We have a few questions. One which Rachel responded to, which was from Peter. Is there an updated version of the chaos report regarding how much of software that is used? And Rachel has responded with a link to an updated version in the comments. So for those of you who are watching who wants to know the answer to this question, just
that's what you have a team for.
look for Rachel's comment there. Then we have one from Afram here, and the question is: you mentioned that companies should be better in knowing what they don't know. How do you recommend they actually start doing that?
Knowing what you don't know. Well, getting into the unknown, maybe. Yeah, that is exploring, doing discovery.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if Afram means when it comes to the product or when it comes to the organization, the shift that needs to happen. But get together and form a cross-functional team where you have different perspectives and the different perspectives needed to do discovery. And discovery is to understand the problem, the actual situation right now. Who are we doing things for? What are the solutions that will be maybe helpful? And that goes both for product and change.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those general questions, right? How do we know what we don't know? That we know. So
we have to try.
It's like one of the things that I usually bring into the when there is this space where we do not know if we don't know the things, is to sort of like go to places where I wouldn't otherwise go. So take the team and sit in new environments, invite someone like an artist, someone who is not related to your topic, and try to get inspiration from that, because that's really, when you get surprised by something, that's really the only way you can answer the question if you know it or not.
And if it's about the customer, the unknown areas that could be around the customer and their needs, of course, go and talk with the customer as soon as possible as a team. So
we have another one from Afram, but I'm going to bring in the question from Theodore here before that. So if you identify a function that users say they want, how do you test it before taking the full development cost? Sometimes people say they want something, but in the end, they don't use it. Do you have any examples of how companies handle this?
Yeah, most bigger companies that I've worked with use feature toggle. So you could then build a feature and release it for just a few people to get feedback. If it's high risk to do that, if very costly to build that feature, I would do testing with users to see and also interview those users more thoroughly, maybe meet with 20 people or something to interview them if they have this supposed problem that is the feature is there to help for. So interview more people, see if they have the need, and then you can test and see if this actually is solving those types of customers' needs. If you solve the problem, then that feature could be needed. So otherwise, you could release it, as I said, with the feature toggle, and then release it for maybe hundreds of people, something like that, and then see if they start to use it. That's a different way.
Yeah. Thanks for that. And if you have follow-ups, you guys, then just put them in the LinkedIn comment box. Another question from Afram here. Tell us more about how the company strategy diamond looks like when management has a good overlap with the first line.
Hmm.
Do you have any experience when it, yeah, when that
Yeah,
has,
that is when you can actually collaborate around strategy. So when people working first line can be involved in strategy work and help to figure out where you need to go and what you need to do, that is when it's actually working. So visualizing what's going on is one thing, but then having collaborative workshops or other types of work that you do together with the higher management, the executives, on what needs to be done to be able to reach these goals that we have as a business. And then you can have emergent strategies happening. So the strategies can change dependent on what's going on. So I facilitated those kind of workshops many times. It could be design studios where you spend a week together, you figure things out together, you bring the people into the room, you have a clear goal, something that needs to happen from the executives, and they join in also to listen in. And at the end of the workshop, the 1 week, they join you to see what different options did you find. Which one of these should we actually focus on moving on? So that's one way. That could be design sprint.
cool. We don't have any more questions right now, but this video will go up on the YouTube channel, and I will post a link to that here. So you will all be, everyone who has commented something will be notified about the location of that one. And yeah, and just ask questions there or reach out via email if there are any questions that you come up with afterwards. Mia, do you have any final remarks or things you want to add?
No, just be brave. You can do this. It will be
Cool.
fun.
So thanks, guys, and I hope to see you in another one of these in the coming weeks. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.